I thought James DeGale was the #1 super middleweight in the world. And then this happened. So James DeGale just lost to, I believe you pronounce his name, Caleb TRUAX. I was actually not going to do a post-fight video to this fight because I wasn't interested in the fight to begin with. When I first heard that it was going to happen, I thought to myself, why is James DeGale defending his IBF super middleweight strap against this guy? This guy didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve this fight. But for some reason, this was, I guess, a cherry pick fight for James DeGale. He thought it was going to be easy work. What ended up happening was he got outworked. James DeGale was basically, James DeGale was clearly the more talented guy. You could just tell, like, with his stance, with his technique, he was the more talented guy. But Caleb was just outworking him. James DeGale was moving around. He wasn't really doing nothing. He was trying to throw like these looping hands. But then, for some reason, he would just like lay against the ropes. And this is where I thought he messed up. He would lay against the ropes and he just let Kara beat him up. Like, there was a Pacific round where everything really changed. Like, for the first 3 to 4 rounds, it was basically even. You could have had James DeGale up or Caleb up. But then, like, a pitiful moment happened in round 5. In round 5, James DeGale just stood in the ropes. He did nothing. And he just covered up. And Caleb just started going, dogging him. He was catching him with uppercuts, left hooks. He really beat up James DeGale in that round. Like, he beat him up. James DeGale was bleeding from his mouth. That's when everything changed. He just basically beat James DeGale up in that round. And after that, that was really the pattern of the whole fight. James DeGale will have his moments, but Caleb really outworked him. He was really outworking him the entire fight. This is a massive setback for James DeGale. Caleb is a very low-level fighter. I've always known about Caleb. He's basically that guy that fights guys that basically, if you're a good fighter, you should be able to beat Caleb. You should be able to beat him. This is the same guy that lost to a shot Jermaine Taylor, if you remember. Well, he dropped Jermaine Taylor, but Jermaine Taylor beat Caleb a couple of years ago. And Jermaine Taylor at that point was already shot. So even a shot Jermaine Taylor was able to beat this guy. But yeah, I'm not going to really hate on Caleb because this was a massive opportunity for him. He wasn't supposed to get this opportunity, but of course he's going to take this opportunity. This is a big payday for him. And of course, he's like one of those gatekeepers / journeymen. So obviously he's probably very happy that he won this fight. And I would be too if I was him. He finally became a champion at, what is he, like 34 now? It's crazy, man. Whoever bet, man, I should have bet on this fight, man. I should have bet on this fight because imagine had you would have bet on Caleb because he was a massive underdog. You would have made a lot of money. You would have made a big return, man. But I'm pretty sure people are gonna say, well, James DeGale was inactive. He hadn't fought in a couple of months, and he just went through surgery. So what? Look at Andre Ward. Andre Ward, when he fought guys like Edwin Rodriguez and guys like Paul Smith, Andre Ward was inactive for like a year. Andre Ward had surgeries on his elbow too. Yet did Andre Ward lose to guys like Edwin Rodriguez? And if you look at Edwin Rodriguez, when Andre Ward fought Edwin Rodriguez, it was kind of the same scenario. Although the difference is Edwin Rodriguez is a better fighter than someone like Caleb TRUAX. But if you remember, when Andre Ward fought Edwin Rodriguez a few years ago, Andre Ward was coming off like a 15-month layoff, just like James DeGale, and he was also coming off a surgery. He had surgery during that time on his arm too, or on his elbow. And what's his name? Edwin Rodriguez was undefeated, and he was a very aggressive fighter. And if you look at that fight, he was going ham, just like Caleb was going ham on James DeGale. He was going ham. He was showing a lot of, he was trying to knock out Andre Ward. He was putting a lot of pressure on him. But Andre Ward, having with the layoff, with the injuries, with the surgeries, he was still able to dominate someone like Edwin Rodriguez. And Edwin Rodriguez is a better fighter than Caleb. So I don't want to hear this excuse that, oh, the only reason James DeGale lost is because he was coming off a layoff and he had surgery. No. He should have beaten someone like Caleb. Again, James DeGale really didn't seem to have much of a game plan. His game plan was really throw some looping hooks, throw occasional body shots, and then lay on the ropes. Like, I didn't like that. That's what he gave. What happened. He was giving away rounds by simply laying on the ropes and having this Caleb guy beat him up. And it's crazy because the Caleb guy looked like he was much stronger than James DeGale on the inside. And the crazy part about that is the fact that Caleb is a middleweight. He turned pro at middleweight. So James DeGale is actually naturally the bigger man. But to me, Caleb looked like he was the physically stronger guy. You know, you would think James DeGale was the middleweight coming up to super middleweight, and Caleb was the super middleweight. So we could forget about James DeGale versus Chris Eubank Jr. That would have been a great payday for James DeGale. Would have been a great payday for him. It would have been a great UK domestic fight. Because it would have been great next year. It would have been Chris Eubank Jr. versus George Groves. And then the winner of that versus James DeGale for unification, right? But that's not going to happen now. I'm telling you right now. Again, I'm happy for Caleb. But Caleb is the weakest champion at super middleweight. I think any top middleweight could beat him. I would pick Chris Eubank Jr. to beat him. I would pick George Groves to beat him. I would probably even pick Colin Smith to beat him. But again, I'm not going to hate on, because again, I've never been impressed by Caleb, but again, I'm going to give him nothing. Of course, I feel happy for him because, you know, this was a great opportunity for him and he won. But yeah, poor performance by James DeGale. He didn't look good in this fight, and this was a cherry pick gone wrong. He was supposed to beat this Caleb fella, and he didn't. And now what? Now he's... Because, like, this is, like, a very low-level guy now. What? In his next fight, is he going to fight an even lower-level guy? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It's kind of embarrassing. It's actually an embarrassing defeat. But these kind of things happen in boxing. Sometimes fighters cherry-pick guys that they're supposed to beat, and these guys upset them, you know? Andre Fonfora cherry-picked Joe Smith Jr. He lost to him. That Javier guy, I forgot his name. He cherry-picked Jason Sosa. He lost to him. Sometimes guys cherry-pick guys and they lose to them. And this was the case with James DeGale. James DeGale cherry-picked this Caleb guy and he lost to him. He thought it was going to be easy work and he lost to him. The Caleb guy had a good game plan. It was, you're fighting a guy in his home country. Put pressure on him. And James DeGale has always had problems with pressure. When a guy applies pressure on him, that's when he's most vulnerable. Lucien Bute applied pressure in James DeGale at times, and he was beating up James DeGale. And Badabu Jack applied plenty of pressure on James DeGale, and he was beating up James DeGale. And this Caleb guy also applied pressure, and he beat up James DeGale. That's how you beat James DeGale. You put pressure on him. James DeGale is a good counterpuncher. He has a lot of machismo. He likes to fight. But because he likes to fight, kind of like George Groves, because he has this machismo where he likes to fight, and because he's not the best on inside fighting, and because he's very vulnerable on inside fighting, that's why he gets beat up a lot. And this was the case with James DeGale. That's the blueprint to beat James DeGale. You just got to go on the inside and fight him. You have to be careful that you get hit with counters, but maybe also some mileage is coming up to James DeGale, because James DeGale has been in a lot of wars. Also, I've seen James DeGale say stuff like he's thinking about retirement because he doesn't want to, you know, he wants to just make as much money as possible and then retire with, you know, money, maybe some legacy. So maybe it's just age too, you know. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens next to James DeGale's career. I'm curious to see what happens to Caleb. Will he have a rematch clause? Will he fight James DeGale again? Or will another champion fight him? Will the winner of George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight him? Or even or any other super middleweight? You know, interesting stuff. Or would Badabu Jack move back down to 168 and fight him? Because that would be an easy fight for him. Although I think he sparred Badabu Jack to prepare for this fight. So maybe they're friends. Maybe they won't fight. But yeah, that's all I have to say, guys. Upset win. I wish I would have bet on this fight. Man, I would have bet on the underdog. I would have made a lot of money, but hey. Maybe next time. So I have to say, guys, if you watched the whole video, I appreciate it. And McGregor's out. Bye.